Welcome, everybody, to this deep dive where we simmer down the numbers of a market you might not even realize is booming, the global broth market.
That's right.
We're diving into some fascinating data today. It's from Cognitive Market Research, and it covers, well, everything from 2021 actuals right up to 2025 forecasts and then projecting way out to 2033. Our mission today, basically cut through the noise, get you the most important insights from this pretty surprising market segment.
And that's exactly the plan. You know, it might sound really specific, broth, right? But delving into something so, well, fundamental can surprisingly reveal these broader economic trends, consumer habits too.
Yeah.
So our goal is just to pull out those key nuggets of knowledge from this data, help you get really well informed quickly.
Okay, let's unpack the big global numbers first then. Because this market, honestly, it's far bigger than I think most people would guess.
Definitely.
In 2021, the global broth market was valued at almost $7 billion. To be precise, $6,811.1 million. And looking ahead, it's expected to grow, hitting over $8 billion by 2025. And then it really expands, forecasted to reach nearly $11.4 billion by 2033.
Okay, hold on. That's
Yeah, and that's a compound annual growth rate, the
Right.
CAGR, of 4.367% over that whole period.
a 4.367% CAGR over a decade. For something like broth, that's quite striking, isn't it?
It really is.
This isn't just some niche product just, holding steady. That signifies consistent compounding growth year after year. It really points to a powerful underlying shift. It tells us that, what might seem like a simple pantry staple is actually undergoing this sort of quiet revolution.
Right.
Probably driven by convenience, maybe perceived health benefits in everyday food choices.
Right. So with that kind of surprising global value in mind, let's zoom in a bit. The regional dynamics. Who's stirring the pot fastest, continent by continent?
Okay.
Looking back at 2021, Europe was actually the largest player by market value, pulled in over $2.6 billion.
Biggest slice.
Followed by North America, close to $2 billion there, and then Asia Pacific at around $1.36 billion.
Right. But what immediately jumps out here is how the growth story is so different depending on where you look.
Oh.
So yeah, Europe and North America, they lead in sheer market value now. But Asia Pacific, that's projected to be the overall fastest growing region. It's got a really robust CAGR, 5.462%.
Wow, over 5.4%.
Exactly. And then you contrast that sharply with, say, the Middle East. They have the lowest regional CAGR, down at 2.998%.
Under 3%.
So it tells us straight away, growth isn't uniform at all. There are really distinct economic, cultural, consumer dynamics driving things differently everywhere.
Okay, let's really boil down those details then. Look at some specific countries. Where are the concentrates? Let's start with North America.
Sure.
Now, the United States is, well, obviously by far the largest segment, over $1.5 billion back in 2021, and it's projected to hit nearly $2.5 billion by 2033.
Big numbers.
But it's Canada that really catches the eye here. Canada boasts a significantly higher growth rate. We're talking a 5.387% CAGR compared to the U.S., which is at 3.617%. Mexico also showed, solid growth.
That is a fascinating contrast, isn't it? That higher Canadian growth, outpacing the U.S. by almost 2 whole percentage points.
Yeah.
It could hint at maybe distinct consumer trends north of the border, perhaps a stronger embrace of certain new broth products or, different dietary preferences developing faster up there.
Could be. Okay, moving over to Europe. Germany stands out as a substantial market, generated over $463 million in 2021, projected to reach over $700 million by 2033. Pretty big.
Solid base, yeah.
But look at these growth pockets. France is strong, 5.380% CAGR. And this rest of Europe category, it's truly surging, a remarkable 5.491% CAGR.
Wow, rest of Europe leading the charge there.
But then at the other end of the spectrum, Sweden, only 1.379% CAGR. And Denmark, even lower, 1.335%, the slowest in Europe. What might be behind these really divergent European trends?
That's a crucial point. The data suggests a real divergence, like you said. Right. In some parts of Europe, maybe broth is seen as this traditional staple, but it's finding renewed interest, maybe through health trends or convenience packaging. That could drive that impressive growth.
Right.
But in others, like Sweden and Denmark, maybe it's just less integrated into daily cooking, or consumer preferences are simply not shifting toward these packaged broth products in quite the same way. It points to some fascinating, cultural differences in how this basic food is used.
Definitely. Okay, now remember Asia Pacific,
Yeah.
our overall fastest growing region.
Yep, the powerhouse.
Within that powerhouse, it's kind of astonishing to see countries like India and Singapore leading the charge, globally even. India is projected for a really impressive 6.659% CAGR.
Over 6.6%.
And Singapore, even higher, 6.952% CAGR. That's nearly 7% annual growth. That feels explosive for a market like broth.
It is explosive. That kind of growth in India and Singapore, nearly 7% a year, it strongly suggests, well, a mix of factors, right? Rising incomes maybe, allowing more convenience buys,
Right.
alongside maybe deep culinary traditions that value broth anyway, and then add in a growing consumer focus on natural or comforting health foods.
Makes sense.
This isn't just a little trend. It feels like a powerful cultural and economic alignment driving this incredible expansion.
And China and Japan, still big markets, right?
Oh yeah, large market values there too, and robust KGRs, both above 5%, still growing strongly.
Okay. And Australia, within this high growth region.
Australia is comparatively a bit more modest, still growing, but at 1.863% CJR, so slower than its neighbors in that region. Got it. Okay, shifting continents again. South America, Argentina looks like a strong performer, 6.151% CAGR.
Very strong.
Closely followed by Colombia, 6.144% CAGR. That's significant growth down there.
Indeed. The South American numbers are really interesting because, well, they're outpacing some of the more established markets in other parts of the world. It suggests growing consumer interest or maybe new brands entering the market and making real inroads.
Okay. Then the Middle East, we noted earlier, lowest overall growth, just under 3% CGR. Right, 2.998%.
But even within that, the UAE stands out. It's the highest growing country there at 4.025% CAGR. Meanwhile, Turkey has the slowest growth in the region, 2.478%.
Yeah, the UAE's relatively higher growth within a generally slower region. That could be due to a few things, maybe a more diversified economy, a larger expat population bringing different food habits,
Could it be?
or just, a greater adoption of convenience foods compared to some neighbors. It just reinforces that idea that even within slower regions, there are always these pockets of opportunity, unique market drivers.
Right. And finally, Africa. What's the picture there?
Africa's overall growth is pretty healthy, actually, 4.877% CAGR.
Okay.
And interestingly, similar to Europe, the rest of Africa segment shows the highest growth rate within the continent at 5.236%.
Ah, another rest of category leading.
Exactly. And that rest of Africa segment's strong growth, outpacing the regional average like that, it often signifies emerging markets where consumption patterns are evolving really quickly. It's a broad category, obviously, but the numbers suggest the broth market is gaining some serious traction across diverse parts of the continent.
Okay. So we've covered a lot of ground, a lot of numbers. Let's try and bring it together. What does this all mean for you, our listener? How can this deep dive into something as seemingly simple as broth help understand the world around you?
Well, like we said at the start, this isn't just about bouillon cubes or, fancy bone broth.
Right.
This deep dive into a very specific market, it really illustrates how detailed data can shed light on these broader shifts, consumer behavior, supply chains, regional economic dynamics. It makes you realize how interconnected global consumption patterns really are. And it raises that important question, doesn't it? How might this growth in the broth market reflect bigger societal shifts, towards convenience or maybe heightened health consciousness or just the ongoing globalization of food trends?
Yeah.
The data gives us this surprisingly clear window into these global movements, even through something as, well, humble as broth.
You mentioned cultural preferences, but I wonder, could something like a huge marketing push by one or two dominant brands also be a really significant factor in some of those high growth regions, maybe skewing the numbers beyond just organic consumer trends?
Oh, absolutely. That's a vital consideration.
Right.
Our data here doesn't detail specific marketing spends by company, of course, but for anyone looking to actually, say, invest or operate in these markets, that's crucial context.
Right.
It highlights the layers beneath these growth figures. It reminds us that the broad numbers, they're just one piece of the puzzle.
Sure.
It definitely makes you wonder what else is driving these shifts beyond just what the initial data reveals.
What a journey. Honestly, when I first saw these numbers specifically for broth, my mind immediately went to my grandmother's kitchen, something so traditional.
Yeah, exactly. Comfort food.
It's just wild to think that same thing is also this multi-billion-dollar high-growth global industry, from that huge global valuation, billions of dollars, down to specific growth pockets in places like Singapore, Argentina. we've really seen just how expansive and dynamic the global broth market is. Thanks for joining us on this flavorful exploration of the numbers.
Yeah, and maybe a final thought to leave you with. Considering these surprising figures for something as fundamental as everyday as broth, what other seemingly ordinary products might be out there, quietly experiencing massive sustained growth around the globe? And, well, what could that tell us about the future of consumption in our daily lives?
Have you ever stopped to think about that comforting bowl of soup or maybe one of those trendy wellness drinks you see popping up everywhere? How something like broth, which feels so traditional, so kitchen basic, could actually be driving a huge global market shift. It's kind of surprising when you dig into it. Today, we're doing just that, taking a deep dive into the global broth market. We're going beyond, just the stock cube to see what's really simmering. Our mission here is to pull out the key insights from a really comprehensive report by Cognitive Market Research titled Global Broth Market: Trends, Drivers, and Restraints. We want to give you the essential takeaways, understand the forces at play.
Okay, let's unpack this. So, where should we start? Maybe with what's actually fueling all this growth. Broth seems to have staged this massive comeback, or maybe it just got a major upgrade. What's driving it?
Yeah, it's a great question. And what's fascinating here is how perfectly broth taps into this huge global focus on health and nutrition. It's really surged.
Hmm.
We're talking specifically about bone broths, vegetable broths, too. They're not just seen as flavor bases anymore. Right, they're almost like a functional food now.
Exactly. People see them as delivering high protein, collagen for joints, gut-friendly nutrients. It's sort of food as medicine, but maybe more accessible, more bioavailable than just taking a pill.
That wellness angle is definitely powerful. And thinking about modern life, convenience must play a massive role, too, right? We're all so busy.
Oh, absolutely. Huge factor. The demand for ready-to-eat, for convenience foods, has been a major tailwind for broth.
Makes sense.
Think about it, ready-to-use broth, whether in cartons or jars, fits right into hectic schedules. It makes whipping up soups, sauces, risottos, whatever, so much faster, even just sipping it warm.
Quick and easy nourishment, but it's not just about speed, is it? I feel like people are reading labels much more closely now. They care about what's in the product.
You hit the nail on the head. That ties into the next big driver, the massive expansion of organic and natural options.
Ah, the clean label trend.
Precisely. Consumers are actively looking for clean labels. They want simple, recognizable ingredients, no artificial stuff, no preservatives if possible.
Yeah.
And that preference for natural, for organic, has really boosted sales for those premium broth lines. People are willing to pay a bit more for that perceived quality and purity.
Okay, so health, convenience, natural ingredients. Are there any specific dietary trends that are giving broth an extra push?
Oh yes, here's where it gets really interesting. The rise of diets like keto, paleo, and low carb has been a significant catalyst,
Right, I can see that connection.
especially bone broth. It's become almost a staple for people on those plans. It delivers electrolytes, protein, that feeling of fullness, all without the carbs.
So it fits perfectly?
It fits perfectly. It's really accelerated growth in those, specialized health food niches
Yeah.
and brought broth to a whole new audience.
Okay, so a lot of positive momentum, clearly.
Hmm.
But every market has its challenges. Let's look at the flip side now. What are the hurdles? So what does this all mean for the challenges facing broth producers?
Well, one of the big ones, especially for the fresher, more premium products, is shelf life.
Ah, the preservative-free challenge.
Exactly. Those fresh, preservative-free broths often have a pretty limited shelf life and, crucially, require cold storage. Refrigeration all the way.
Which impacts logistics, I imagine.
Massively.
Yeah.
It limits the distribution reach, especially for smaller producers who might not have extensive cold chain networks. This raises an important question about balancing that freshness ideal with the practicalities of getting product to market widely.
Yeah, that's tricky. What about the economics? Are manufacturers feeling pressure on costs?
They definitely are. There's significant fluctuation in raw material prices. Think about it, the cost of bones, quality meat, organic vegetables. These can be really volatile.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're trying to meet that demand for premium natural ingredients, but also keep prices somewhat competitive, that volatility really squeezes your margins. It's a tough balancing act.
And what about competition? Is it just other brands, or is there something more fundamental, like people just making it themselves?
That's a very real factor. There's still strong competition from homemade alternatives.
The original broth.
The original broth. Many consumers still prefer making it at home. Why? Well, perceived authenticity, it can be cheaper. And you control exactly what goes in the flavor, the salt.
Total customization.
Right. And that desire for something truly authentic, truly comforting and homemade, it definitely puts pressure on the packaged options. They need to offer a compelling reason, convenience, unique flavor, specific benefits to win that sale.
Okay, one more area: regulations. Food always seems to bump up against rules, especially when you start talking health benefits.
Yes, and that's a complex one. If we connect this to the bigger picture of wellness trends, regulatory hurdles are a major consideration.
Especially around health claims.
Precisely. Companies have to tread very carefully with marketing language. Any claims suggesting therapeutic benefits or even strong links to specific diets face intense scrutiny from regulators like the FDA or EFSA.
So you can't just say, this cures.
Absolutely not. You need solid evidence, and even then, the permitted language is often very restricted. Plus, regulations differ region by region, adding another layer of complexity for brands operating internationally. Compliance is key, but it's demanding.
It sounds like navigating those challenges requires real innovation. So let's shift back to the exciting stuff. What are the latest trends stirring things up in the broth world?
Well, one really interesting area is innovation in broth-based functional beverages.
Functional beverages, like drinkable broths.
Exactly. Think ready-to-drink savory broths, maybe sipped warm or even cold, but they're often infused with added functional ingredients.
Such as?
Things like extra collagen, herbs known for certain properties, maybe adaptogens like ashwagandha or certain mushrooms aimed at stress relief or other wellness goals. It's about convenient hydration plus benefits.
Blurring the lines between food and beverage, almost. And what about plant-based? That's huge everywhere else.
Oh, definitely making waves in broth, too. We're seeing a real surge in plant-based and vegan broth alternatives.
What kinds of ingredients are they using?
Things like mushrooms, shiitake, porcini legumes, seaweed for umami depth, roasted vegetables. They're getting really creative. And this links directly to those broader trends we see everywhere. Sustainability, ethical eating, people reducing meat intake. It's a necessary innovation for the market.
It sounds like broth is also getting fancier, more gourmet.
That's a great way to put it. There's a definite trend towards premiumization and culinary innovation.
So beyond just chicken or beef flavor.
Way beyond. We're seeing gourmet broths now, like spicy bone broth, Thai lemongrass infusions, maybe even truffle-flavored broths.
Wow, okay.
These are aimed squarely at foodies, home chefs, people looking to easily add complex, sophisticated flavors to their cooking without starting totally from scratch. It elevates broth from a background ingredient to potentially the star.
That makes sense. And how are people actually getting these broths, especially the niche or premium ones? Is it all still the supermarket?
Not anymore. The e-commerce boom is really transforming sales and consumption patterns here.
Ah, direct to consumer.
Exactly. Lots of brands, especially newer, innovative ones, are going direct to consumer online. They're using subscription models, selling through specialty health websites.
Giving them direct access to niche customers.
Precisely. And for the consumer, it means access to a much wider variety, custom bundles maybe, and of course the convenience of home delivery. It's bypassing traditional retail limits.
What a journey. We've gone from simple stock to functional beverages, gourmet infusions, online subscriptions. It's clear the global broth market is so much more dynamic than most people probably realize. It really is this fascinating intersection, isn't it, where health meets taste and that deep sense of tradition somehow blends seamlessly with cutting-edge innovation.
It truly is. The depth and dynamism are quite remarkable, and it mirrors so many bigger shifts in how we think about food, wellness, and convenience. And maybe a final thought for you listening. As you see these trends play out, the functional sips, the online boom, consider how this might fundamentally change what broth even means over the next few years. Could it evolve even further beyond a kitchen staple? Will those lines between food, beverage, and health supplement become even blurrier? It's definitely something to watch.